So KZN is bearing the brunt of the protests and looting. There are concerns of a food shortage after many businesses were looted and vandalized, and this while the country is fighting COVID-19. So what about burials in KwaZulu-Natal? Undertakers are now unable to conduct burials and bodies can't be moved due to the unrest. Let's speak to someone about the challenges that they're experiencing. The Avbob Funeral Services General Manager, Pieter van der Westhuizen. Pieter, thank you so much for making time. How have funeral parlors been affected in Gauteng and KwaZulu-Natal? I know there are some grieving families that have been unable to bury their loved ones due to the violence over the last couple of days.
Good afternoon. Yeah, no, I mean, we've been severely affected in KZN. Unfortunately, since Monday, we needed to close our businesses due to the unrest. We can't move, so our vehicles are stuck at our branches. We were unable to collect loved ones after they passed on. So obviously there are bodies piling up at hospitals and at government mortuaries that cannot be buried. And I mean, in KZN, the industry bury approximately 2,000 people per week. So you can do your own calculations if you want to know how many people were not buried this week. I mean, it is very, very difficult. In Gauteng, we were affected in certain areas, but I mean, business is back to normal sort of since Tuesday. We were able to collect loved ones and arrange burials and conduct the burials in most parts of Gauteng. So Gauteng, while it was affected, is definitely not as badly affected as KwaZulu-Natal.
So what do you tell the families then that have their loved ones kept at your mortuaries in the affected areas, of course? And do you tell them to prolong their mourning period? Do they postpone the funerals, and how are they taking it?
Yeah, I think families understand the environment. I mean, everybody has been affected by what has happened the past few days. So families are understanding. I think the bigger concern is for us to get in touch with families and for them to actually get to our offices, because as unsafe it was for us to move, the same applied to the families. So we could not, I mean, it was impossible for all undertakers to execute and arrange funerals the past week. So obviously, I mean, today most of our funeral parlors opened, and we start arranging with families to collect and do funeral arrangements for next week and some over this weekend where possible. But we stay close to the situation, we stay close to our families, and we keep on informing them what's going to happen and when it can happen. And like I said, I think everybody is in this and everybody is very understanding of our predicament, maybe not so much of what happened the past few days.
Mm-hmm. What about Home Affairs officers that have also been affected in KwaZulu-Natal and Gauteng? I imagine this has just made things worse on your side.
Yeah, obviously, I mean, there's a lot of role players when you plan a funeral. Home Affairs is one of these role players, because you can't do a cremation or burial without a death certificate. So if you can't do death certificates, you can't arrange a funeral or a cremation. And I mean, understandably, if everything is closed in KZN, you will not get a death certificate from Home Affairs. But like I said, you can't do burials in any event. So I think there will be a huge backlog come next week of bodies coming into the mortuaries, families starting to arrange funerals, death certificates that need to be issued, doctors that needs to sign off on documentation. So I think for the next 2 to 3 weeks we will be in very, very much under pressure to make sure that the burials and cremations are conducted for our families.